All right, important topic to discuss this morning. There's some outrage among some people because of a game that was being sold online called Rescue the Anorexia Girl. It's a game that basically encourages players to throw food at a sickly girl. Amazon has now pulled the game. It's no longer being sold online. Brian Cuban, author of Shattered Image, My Triumph Over Body Dysmorphic Disorder, joins us now. And Brian, you wrote this blog post about this. Yes. A lot of people in the eating disorder treatment community were outraged about it. It kind of explain that stance, because some people say it's just a game, you know, what harm could be done?
Well, it's just a game, but it also puts out a perception out there. There are a lot of misconceptions about eating disorders, and when you see a game like that where it indicates that all you have to do is throw food at someone who has anorexia, that's a big problem, because people will believe that, and it's much more complicated than that.
Yeah, certainly. So according to this game, you save the anorexia girl, as they're calling her. I feel weird even just saying that as a description of somebody, but you're seeing the game here by feeding her. So you had said that that's the fantasy of eating disorders. That is the stereotype.
Correct.
This is not how you would treat a person, and it's just not funny.
Correct. It's definitely not funny, and it's certainly to someone like me or and hundreds of thousands of others who have suffered from that. But it puts out the stereotype that eating disorders are a choice, and they are not. They are a brain-based biological disorder that have genetic roots. It puts out the stereotype that you can just throw food at someone to cure an eating disorder. That is not true. Feeding is important with an eating disorder,
sure,
but counseling can be involved. There can be all kinds of treatment involved when someone has an eating disorder.
Yeah, and in the game, it's like if players don't throw enough food, just so people know if they've never seen it, the person eventually dies. I mean, this is just so bizarre.
It is, and the bizarre, ironic part about that is eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any psychological illness.
Yeah, so when you posted this blog post, you said that there were several national organizations that were involved in this and involved in the eventual, I guess, taking down of this game by several different companies.
That's right. I was alerted to it by a group called IED Action, which is primarily parents who have children who have suffered from eating disorders and others. They alerted me. I wrote the blog post, and it got picked up nationally. And Amazon took it down, and Barnes & Noble took it down. And you have to remember, it's not their fault. These are passive digital uploads. Right. They don't know until someone complains. And they enforced their rules, their terms of service, and took them down.
And I want to talk a little bit about your background, too. I mentioned the book, but of course, you have an extensive background in eating disorders of your own, and
correct,
then speaking on them and everything like that. Talk a little bit about the impact that seeing something like this could have. And we're showing some pictures of you from before. There's you in that race I remember we talked about.
Yes.
And what kind of impact does this have when someone looks at this and sees this and they're suffering and they're saying someone's making a game making fun of what I'm dealing with?
It's offensive on a certain level, because when I was going through this, it was certainly no game to me. It was almost deadly. Yeah. And I suffered from an eating disorder for 27 years, from 18 till I was about 45 years old.
Yeah, it's interesting that you put it out there, and it shows that change can be made if something like this is out there and harmful. And like you say, it's a passive upload.
That's right, and it's about awareness too. What specific impact will this game have on a specific person? There's no way to know.
Sure.
But we know that it has provided a platform to let people know that eating disorders are not a game. Eating disorders are not a joke. Eating disorders are deadly, and you cannot cure an eating disorder just by throwing food at someone.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the insight, Brian, and it's an interesting blog post I posted on my Facebook page. If you want to check it out, Brian Cuban, thank you so much.